Gabe gave a quick introduction from my attack chain, which I, by the way, fixed in the background. Gabe showed you what happens in the cloud. Now, the problem is the invisibility only from the most cloud tools, what's happening on the wire, like which files have been downloaded. You only see there has something being executed, but where does it come from, what does it do, and exactly where does it look like? That's where Derek came in with his NDR. So with NDR, we have the ability to like dive in, pull out the packet on the wire, analyze and say, well, that's malicious. And the whole challenge with that is now how to bring the two together. And that's a bit of the magic, what we exactly do with our automation orchestration platform called FortiSOAR. So what we can do is that ingest the data from all the two sides. Like I get the indicators from Gabe and from Derek, like IP addresses, maybe alert IDs. And what I can do based on that is trigger the remediation of such an attack. Now, how does it work? We have FortiNDR, we have the FortiCNAPP alert. So we have NDR would provide us like information, hey, that IP address is super malicious. We will see that there tried someone doing a log4j attack. So we know that's the command and control server because we also see reverse shell communication there, and there's some file downloads going on from there. FortiCNAPP says, well, there was an IP connect back, but we saw there's some strange movement in the containers, there's some strange movement in AWS, there's some crypto checking or crypto attacks applied. Now the second piece is what we're using is maybe we need more information. That IP address, yes, that's an IP. Is it good or bad? Maybe it's a known bad. Maybe we know that already because it's a bad actor, or maybe that's a new IP address no one has ever seen so far. Same with files. We have those integrations everywhere, like with VirusTotal and other common sources. With SOAR, we can go one step ahead. What we can do with SOAR is like that single cockpit for the analyst. We showed it last time when we did the drone attacks with the delivery drone, that we can do like the automation and remediation of those pieces. That's basically like a bit similar on a different angle. So we have the central cockpit for the analyst, so he doesn't need to jump into CNAPP, find the right alerts, then put some notes down there, go to NDR, go to the firewall, go to the web application firewall, right? I mean, you not only have one tool, you have hundreds of tools. And that's where SOAR is centralizing that basically. And from there, we then take action. We delete the deployment, which is malicious, and completely whip it off, so the crypto miner is gone. We know the containers are infiltrated, so what are we doing? Let's redeploy it in a clean state. At least the attacker is kicked out. And as a last piece, let's block that bad IP address, so he cannot come back. And then let's send an email to someone who's responsible for that to say, hey, fix your stuff, please. We have a lot of issues here. And now, how it's gonna look like. So we'll switch to our SOAR, and of course I'm logged out. There we have some alerts on that. Let me log in, please. Here we go. So what we can do, SOAR ingests many alerts from different sources, as I already mentioned. So we look in here like in our alerts view. That's a lot. You see a lot of lacework stuff. You see a lot of alerts. Maybe you will somewhere spot in here some alerts like a new user has been created or there's a new vulnerable application. But to be fair, that's just a demo environment. Think about the real world, hundreds, thousands of alerts pulling in. And also an alert is not that, it's just an alert. It doesn't mean anything. So what we want to do is now, let's do incident response. Let's set up an incident. And I've prepared it a little bit. There's an e-commerce web shop attack. So what do we have with that incident? What I did, and that's really just the only piece, I gave it a name. And I put in that IP address. And what you can immediately see up above in that screen, that IP address comes up quite often with many bad alerts. So we know there's something going on. So we see many like network attack here, some other stuff, and you can also move it a bit around, but also there's that AWS account. Now, let's look a bit further and let's see the correlation. So an incident consists mostly out of multiple alerts. And if we link on that, for example, we have all those fishy alerts. Let's search for that crypto checking, for example. We know there's the crypto checking artifacts. And Well, I know that's the right one. You maybe will get it from Gabe. He will tell you that's the alert ID you want to correlate together. And we now refresh. We see some other concatenations. We see now the crypto checking. But we can also do that more or less automatically. We can say, hey, we have playbooks, which is step by step doing what we should know. So we know the indicators. Let's search for me in my alerts, maybe also back in the past. When has that IP already hit up? And where did it show up? Let's enrich from FortiCNAPP. Let's see what we can get else based on those indicators we know. That could be then also like extended by file hashes. We know that IP address was using that malicious file hash and other stuff. We can extend that. When we now link, we see there's that other account that someone logged in from another geo region, which is uncommon. Before, we didn't even link them together maybe. Now we know, wait, the attacker has logged into that account from his machine. The same what we can do is with NDR, with the network detection response. It's like we can say, hey, give me all the attack alerts for that single IP address from a certain time range, for example. And let's go back maybe a little bit. From the 20s, we have right now 9:30. Let's say from 5 a.m. Give me that. I want to see it. And we will hopefully see some malicious attacks or some malicious alerts which NDR basically has identified, like, for example, the download of the reverse shell code to our node, which then has been executed. That's something you would see like in NDR. Let's see if it works. And if it gives me all of what I need. Or I took the wrong time window. Always a demo. But you see there was some stuff behind, and you also see some more correlation of, for example, that AWS account, there was some API failed loggers. That whole picture gets bigger and bigger. It's worse and worse. But that's what I want to show. It's all putting those puzzle pieces together to help you now see that whole picture, which you need to do. Now, how can we remediate that? Well, it's a playbook. Let's remediate that. We have the indicators. We know from the alerts which is the malicious Kubernetes deployment because it's a crypto checking alert. We know that bad IP address. We know which machines or which K8s clusters affected. We have all those information, all those alerts. And when we look into that, we can trigger that incident remediation. So what I can do, and that's basically the point, I block that IP address from that bad guy. So first of all, we kick him out. He shouldn't be there anymore. Second one is we wipe out that malicious deployment. And the last one is let's redeploy a clean state. Send our email and close that whole incident. We are done for today. That's what we can do all with SOAR. And of course, it's quite hard to know all of that. And you're a SOC analyst, you do that the whole day with 500 different alerts. And for sure of that, we have our little friend, our little robot. And our little robot can help us. So that little robot is aware of like which indicators are attached, what is the alert to that, what helps or what does it mean. And what I can do with that, and that's a pretty neat capability, I can say, hey, can you help me please? What do you think? I'm a junior SOC analyst. What's the severity of that alert? I'm not sure. Is it now high, critical? Is it medium? What do you think? And I can ask it. And the great thing here is it allows me to either discuss it with my little robot, my FortiAI, or just it can configure that for me. So it like can set the severity or update like a description, or I can ask, hey, you see now all the alerts. You see all that pattern, because machines are a bit smarter than us in detecting patterns. Can you provide me some similar alerts, which you can find in the other view? And here, for example, it provides me a recommendation. Now I can say, cool, can you please set me that severity which you would like to have, and it will update that for me.
I don't know if you can. Is Fortinet training their own models for this, or is this going off some base model that already exists, or
In that particular case, it's using OpenAI in the backend.
okay,
It's using ChatGPT, but we allow other connectors also having like the multi-model view, so that you have like you can pull in different others, like for example Google Gemini. But it's depending on the product right now.
gotcha. Cool, thank you.
Yeah. And to keep it short, as we're running over time, that's basically it from our end. And I want to say thank you for having us today. And I hope you found something new and learned something new.